What's going on, everyone? It's your boy Savvy, and welcome back to the Savvy Show. And in today's episode, your boy's hyped because we have another proposal to react to today. And this one definitely does look pretty juicy, and it's from none other than SCP Explained Story and Animation. Feels like it's been a while since we covered them, so it even makes it all the better. So this SCP is SCP-001, The Way the World Ends, the Valley of Gods and Monsters. So that's a lot to unpack because it could be literally, from the title, multiple gods and monsters within this SCP. So for me, first time reading this title and looking at the thumbnail, maybe I thought it could be possibly about, the serpent, which is the indestructible creature, and the other proposal, the gate guardian, maybe it has something to do with them. But who knows, they might take a whole new route, or it'd be something that I didn't expect. But like always, your boy's excited to see what this is all about. So with that all out the way, if you guys are excited for this reaction and you do enjoy it along the way, please remember to smash that like button for me, guys. Let's at least just get 100 likes. We were close on the last one, so let's try to break that barrier, guys. Let's get 100 likes on this one to keep on pushing it out. And also, if you guys just enjoyed the content, let me know how you feel about it in the comment section below. I'd love to hear you guys. I read all the comments, so yeah, feel free to share your voice. It's a safe place, so go crazy. And also remember, smash that bell so you don't miss an upload. And now, without any further ado, let's get this show started. Alrighty, The Way the World Ends, SCP-001, The Valley of Gods and Monsters. Let's go.
To say all hell had broken loose would be a vast understatement. A more realistic assessment of what had happened in the aftermath of SCP-001, the lock being opened, would be every hell had broken loose.
The lock?
Along with every heaven, every anomaly, every ancient god and buried horror, every nightmare from outer space and from different dimensions. Every agent of the apocalypse, every emissary of Ragnarok, every entity, sentient and otherwise, with a vested interest in seeing the world as we know it come to an end. So it goes without saying the SCP Foundation and their allies had their work cut out for them. So before we march once again into the terrifying future, let's quickly refresh our memories as to how we got here.
Okay, so it basically seems like just multiple universes, all the hells and heavens within all the different timelines and universes are all just, being in this one place, coming out, going crazy. So definitely is something crazy to think about. And with the key itself, I wonder if that's another SCP that tied along with this one, which is, I'm assuming, the event that's happening right now. What they're calling The Way the World Ends. But we shall see.
The lock had started off as a mere curio in a 19th century explorer's vast collection, before it fell into the possession of the SCP Foundation, and became designated as SCP-001.
So,
for years, the lock perplexed people with its seemingly limitless mysteries. From its origins to its strange markings, to what would happen when the lock is finally opened. And it would indeed be opened, in perhaps the ultimate example of be careful what you wish for. An entity known as the Harbinger invaded Site-10 and used a special key to finally open the lock, triggering the ultimate
Another
apocalypse.
SCP? Whoa, another SCP did that? What's his ties with this proposal? Because that's... I hope they cover that.
Anomalies became more powerful and escaped containment all over the world.
Whoa.
Animals mutated into giant monsters and began causing chaos. Mythological creatures such as the goddess of SCP-1000, the mighty Norse Fenrir, and an entity that transformed into a giant evil duck went totally berserk. The lock itself completely blew up Site-10
Where did this lock come
before
from?
remaking it and its personnel elsewhere, and turned the crater where Site-10 used to be into an incredible otherworldly valley on Earth, where an even more incredible meeting would soon take place.
Oh my god, with all the gods?
SCP-990, the Dream Man, came to the administrator of the SCP Foundation and warned her of impending doom. But she decided that no matter how dire things got, the Foundation would fight back.
Oh my god.
And that brings us to the star of the show, SCP-343, also known as God.
Why don't you fight back?
But please, call him Yahweh. No point in sticking to formality here at the end of it all, right? Ever since the lock was opened by that pesky, mysterious Harbinger, he'd been an extremely busy deity. Last time we saw him make his long-awaited rendezvous with another SCP-001, the Gate Guardian,
He's in this.
whose true name was revealed to be Uriel. Yahweh instructed Uriel to open the gate to paradise, releasing his armies of powerful sword-wielding angels upon the earth.
Wow.
And now we're all caught up. Let the madness commence.
Let's see it.
After instructing Uriel to free his armies and lead them in a war against evil, Yahweh decided to address the most powerful humans on Earth and enlist them in his fight. those same arrogant humans who foolishly believed they'd been containing him all this time, and not that he'd simply been choosing to stay with them. Perhaps now they would see sense. Yahweh manifested physically in 13 different places at once and spoke to the O5 Council.
So he must really be God then, I think. I'm just saying. And so far, it seems like all the God entities that I thought would be in this SCP had made a cameo. So I can't wait to see what they're going to do about this, because this is looking pretty juicy right now.
They were filled with awe and holy terror as the deity appeared before them like a glittering ghost, eyes glowing, exuding pure power. Speaking with absolute authority, he said,
Uriel, my servant, once told your founder...
Bro, that voice, that deepness, that bass, bro, that shook me low-key. I didn't expect that from God. Yo, come on now, what... Is God really that skin complexion? Bro, I'm just saying, yo, because it doesn't match. It doesn't match.
To prepare for the great and terrible day of the Lord. This day now approaches. Make your final preparations.
Oh my God.
There is nothing else you will need to do but wait. My armies ride across the earth. Soon I will call the 4 horsemen. Once the last judgment has been unsealed.
Yo! What the heck? Okay, this is the first time I've seen an animation at least tackle somewhat about the 4 horsemen. Oh my God. Yo, okay, I'm really hyped right now. It's only 4 minutes in. Almost 4 minutes.
Then shall the great and terrible day of the Lord come. And then all will have paradise.
And with that, he was gone, leaving the most powerful human beings on Earth shaken. It was about time they got a reality check about their true cosmic insignificance. Still, the act of splitting himself 13 waves briefly gave Yahweh symptoms similar to vertigo. During his confinement, he hadn't needed to truly flex his power, and now he was finally beginning to feel the limitations of this human form. But he didn't have time to muse over the nature of human frailty, as the world he worked so hard on began to crumble around him.
Okay, just to say, at least within this canon of this story, it does seem like God is actually God. It's not just a reality warper posing as God, because I mean he could control the Gate Guardian, which is another God level entity, and just a lot of things that he's doing makes it seem like he's more than just a regular reality warper. He could be, but maybe in this universe God is just a reality warper. So, you know.
Return to the valley, the precursor to Eden's return, the valley where only he had set foot. He breathed a sigh and teleported there, prepared to finally be alone and collect his thoughts. But he wasn't alone. You've probably heard salacious stories about parties getting out of hand. It always goes the same way. A birthday party or small gathering created as an event on Facebook, but accidentally set to public. Not long after, little Andrea's quinceañera or Joe's bar mitzvah suddenly has 5,000 attendees.
Oh my God.
All strangers, and the riot police are called in to get the chaos under control. Now imagine that same thing, but instead of rowdy drunkards, it's cosmic figures and apocalyptic beings from all over the multiverse. And now you know what Yahweh walked in on. Welcome to the Valley of Gods and Monsters.
What?
It was crowded with beings that would boggle your mind to even comprehend.
This is crazy.
Deities with 2 limbs, 6 limbs, 100 limbs, or none. Spirit whales and feathered snakes flew overhead, with clouds of intelligent insects and fae flying just below.
What the heck?
A giant furred creature moved over a distant mountain, looking on. A pure black humanoid entity appeared before Yahweh, blinked, and then vanished. Moments later, a giant centipede-like creature skittered past him, giving him a nasty glare. Everyone was here. The pantheon of Greek gods, from Zeus to Hades.
Damn.
Every Egyptian god and monster. The bird-headed Ra, the jackal-headed Anubis, the monstrous snake beast Apep. The Norse gods were drinking and having rowdy conversations with the Hindu deities. Entities so ancient their names have been forgotten, and monsters whose faces had only ever been seen in the restless dreams of billions of humans, then quickly forgotten upon waking. In short, the gang's all here.
Oh my God.
Yahweh, for the first time ever, was feeling lost, confused, and even small. He decided to mingle with the crowd of humanoid gods, wanting to be with people who looked like him. There he met a dark-skinned woman with long hair and lip piercings known as Asherah. Although his memory of her was faint, she reminded him that she was once his consort.
What?
Back before he made the admittedly jerk move of wiping out all the other pantheons of history. so that he could rule over the cosmos alone.
Really?
Now, with the opening of the lock, everyone was back, ready to cause the apocalypse. But here was the problem. They didn't just want to cause the apocalypse, they wanted to cause their apocalypse. Every belief system had its own vision for how this strange little show we called Earth should end, and not all of them were compatible. So a very heated debate was breaking out as to who should really get to bring the world to an end. And the most darkly funny part of this, very few of these gods, entities, and creatures even knew about each other until a few moments before. So the fact that they had this level of competition was a very unpleasant surprise. To put it in perspective, imagine you're Neil Armstrong, circa 1969, taking the Apollo 11 shuttle straight to the moon. The craft lands, he's suited up, preparing for the first ever moonwalk. His iconic quote, "This is one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind," already looping in his head. Then when he steps off the craft, there are already several people on the lunar surface, lounging on deck chairs and asking him if he'd like a beer.
He finally made it.
He asks them what the hell is going on. They tell him they just got here an hour ago and were making themselves comfortable.
Oh my god.
Yahweh was beginning to realize that perhaps he really didn't hold the sway he thought he did. Any Bible fans in our audience will know that the plan for the Christian apocalypse is laid out pretty clear in the book of Revelations. Satan, armies of angels, giant scorpion locusts, and in the end, the rebirth of paradise on earth. Yahweh thought, all things considered, his version of the end of everything actually shook out pretty well for everybody. A little temporary hell on earth and painful damnation aside. But here he wasn't the holiest of holies. He was just one guy with a big picture idea.
Literally, just a regular guy.
So many other beings, each with their own big picture designs for ending things.
So are they like trapped there? I'm confused. Could they just leave and come back whenever they want, or are they trapped in this valley? Like what?
All except Ashira. She'd spent time in a mortal form on Earth and had really grown to like the place in that time. So much so that she didn't want to see it end in any manner. In her own words to a baffled and somewhat offended Yahweh, "I may have been called here, but not even that lock can make me end the world. Have you ever tried the seafood in Singapore? Have you ever used a smartphone? Ran through the jungle? Seen Cirque du Soleil? Flown on an airplane? Surfed the internet? Watched tentacle porn? Seen Star Wars?"
You really had to throw that in there? Y'all caught that too, right? I ain't gonna rewind it, but like, bro, what? That was like 0 to 1,000 in the smallest time frame you could think possible. Let's just keep it pushing.
Explored the Wanderer's Library. Been lost in the concrete mazes of the new human cities. No, I like the world the way it is, thanks. It may be messed up, but tearing it apart isn't going to improve anything. So no, I don't plan to end the world. I actually don't plan to let you end the world either, or anyone else. Sorry. Yahweh was somewhere between enraged and amazed.
How are you going to stop him?
His former consort was not only willing to go against him, but every cosmic being here. She was staring down the barrel of quite literally infinite power, and yet she still stood in defiance of them. Yahweh was about to retort when something even more bizarre happened in the Valley of Gods and Monsters. A woman's voice rang out simply saying, "Pardon me," in a calm, even tone that somehow caught the attention of every deity and world-ender in the valley. They turned in amazement to see a human woman in a gray suit standing among them. A face that somehow all these supposedly all-knowing beings couldn't seem to recognize. But if you SCP Explained fans have been perceptive in the previous videos, it's a face you'll know all too well.
How's she there?
The Administrator. Never shifting her tone or raising her voice, she said, "I come on behalf of the SCP Foundation. Some of you know who we are. Some of you do not. The Foundation are the protectors of humanity. Some of you we have imprisoned. Some of you we have bargained with, all in defense of humanity. I've come to talk." Some of the entities laughed. Others sneered. Was this woman really arrogant enough to believe that humans had a seat at this table?
How did she get there?
Their place was resting on the plates, subject to the mercy of teeth and silverware, not conversation. They asked what she wanted, more out of morbid curiosity than any real desire to know. She replied, "We can open the way to worlds free of sentient life. Many worlds. Enough room for all of you. You won't have to end this world. No humans will have to die. You will have 100 others. I want you to let this world live out the rest of its history in peace, and in return for this, we will not destroy you." Some laughed.
How are you going to destroy these gods? Is she really capping right now, or does she really have a way to destroy these gods?
Others tried it. Most just remained in silence.
The heck?
When none accepted the administrator's offer,
I'll be laughing
she
too.
simply shrugged and calmly delivered what seemed less like a threat and more like an ironclad promise to the Valley of Gods and Monsters. We are the Foundation. We will not worship you. We will not join you. We will not go back to hiding in fear of you. I hope you will change your minds, but we will stand against you, and alone, if we have to.
What are you going to do with a group of gods? There's no way. I don't care what kind of special agents or soldiers you have in this Foundation, but there's no way. There's no way. Maybe one god, not just, just giving them the benefit of the doubt, but a whole valley of them, get the heck out of here.
All of you. And for a fleeting moment, before the administrator vanished, Yahweh thought of himself as SCP-003. Then, she was gone. At that moment, the war for the fate of planet Earth had truly begun. Now go check out Children of SCP.
We need a part 2. We definitely need a part 2. Bruh, I really hope they come up with one soon. Or I'm just going to read the file, because this one seems very, very, very unique in a way where you will never assume something like this. Especially the end with the SCP Foundation ready to combat a Valley of Gods. Like, how are they going to win? How are they going to try to stand a chance? That's the crazy part about it. But like always, if you guys did enjoy this reaction, please let me know by smashing that like button. Let's get 100 likes on the video. And also let me know in the comment section below what you thought about the actual reaction and the SCP itself. And like always, remember, smash that bell so you don't miss an upload. And unfortunately, that does conclude today's episode. However, I'll catch you guys on the next one.